All right, let's talk about something that could finally fix one of the biggest headaches in AI right now. It's a new standard called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP for short. And honestly, it has the potential to completely change how our AI connects to, well, everything. So, if you've ever tried to build something real with AI, you know this pain. You have this incredibly powerful model, but getting it to do something basic, like, say, check your sales data or manage your calendar, means you have to connect it to your tools. And that process, right now, is just a total mess. Okay, let's just look at the difference here. On the left, that's the world we're living in now. It's custom chaos. Every single tool needs its own, fragile, hand-built bridge to the AI. It's not just slow and expensive to build, it's a security nightmare, and it locks you into whatever AI platform you started with. But on the right, that's the future MCP is trying to build, a universal standard. One protocol to rule them all, letting any AI talk to any tool that speaks the language. And calling it a nightmare is not an exaggeration. Right now, developers are spending way more time just building these brittle, one-off connections than they are actually creating cool new things with AI. You're just stuck in this loop of building, fixing, and maintaining integrations instead of innovating. And that is the exact problem MCP was born to solve.
So how do you get out of that nightmare? Well, you need a universal language, and that's exactly what MCP is. It's a common tongue that lets every AI and every tool finally understand each other.
Now, the key thing to get here is that MCP is an open standard. That means no single company owns it. Think of it as a shared public framework that allows an AI, like Claude or GPT, to talk to a database or a CRM or even just your local files in a totally consistent and secure way. No more custom code for every little thing. And if there's one idea you take away from all this, it's this one. Just think about the web before HTTP. It was a total Wild West, no standard way for browsers and servers to talk. HTTP created that standard, and in doing so, it basically created the web as we know it today. Well, MCP is aiming to do the exact same thing, but for AI. It's a huge ambition. So how does this whole thing actually work under the hood? You might think it's some crazy, complex new tech, but it's actually built on a classic, proven model that's been running the internet for decades. It's really just a simple three-step dance. First, the AI application, which is the client, sends out a request using the standard MCP format. Then, the tool, or the database, acting as the server, gets that request, knows exactly what to do with it, and processes it. Finally, the server sends a standardized response right back to the AI. Because both sides are speaking the same language, the whole thing is just seamless. And this protocol was really designed for the real world. Security isn't an afterthought, it's baked right in, supporting everything from simple API keys to complex OAuth. So instead of everyone rolling their own potentially leaky security, we all get to benefit from one robust standard. It's also built to handle huge data sets by streaming data. And, this is a big one, it gives you fine-grained permissions. So you have complete control over exactly what data an AI is allowed to see or touch. Okay, that's enough theory. Let's talk about what this actually looks like when you use it. How does this work in the real world? This is a perfect example. I mean, it sounds like a simple request, right? But for an AI, this is a monumentally complex task because it needs to access totally separate systems that don't talk to each other. And here is where the magic of MCP really shines. The AI doesn't need one set of custom code for the database and a totally different set for the presentation software. Nope, it uses the exact same MCP protocol to talk to both. It sends an MCP request to the database, gets the sales numbers back, and then sends another MCP request to the presentation tool to build the slides. It all just works. It becomes one fluid workflow. So for anybody out there who's actually building with AI, the takeaway here is massive. Instead of spending weeks wrestling with a dozen different APIs and authentication methods, developers can just plug into existing MCP servers. This frees them up to focus on the cool part, what the AI should do with the data, not just on the nightmare of how to get it. So, what does this all mean for the big picture? Well, if MCP gets widely adopted, this could really be the thing that unlocks the next evolution of AI. We could finally move beyond these isolated little chatbots and get to what we've all been promised, deeply integrated digital partners. And because MCP is an open standard, we're already seeing a whole ecosystem start to grow around it. People are building MCP support for databases, for cloud services, for popular business apps like CRMs. And the more tools that get on board, the more powerful the entire network becomes for everyone. It's the kind of thing that prevents that dreaded vendor lock-in that always stifles innovation. But, let's be realistic. It's not a magic bullet. Adopting a new protocol is a big deal. It requires investment. Companies have to actually build these MCP servers for their tools, and developers need to take the time to learn the new patterns. And since it's still pretty new, the tooling and the community resources are, they're still catching up.
And that really brings us to a fundamental point. The race for better AI isn't just about who can build the biggest, smartest model. It's about connectivity. Because a brilliant AI that can't access any data, well, it's like a genius locked in a soundproof room. MCP is basically the key to unlocking that door. Which leaves us with a big question. Just like HTTP became the invisible, essential backbone of the web, could MCP become the standard that finally lets our AI truly connect with and work alongside our entire digital world? Only time will tell, but it's definitely one of the most exciting and promising steps we've seen toward that future.